What is up, everyone? JD here. Really excited. I have a couple of knives in from Winterblade. We're going to take the look at the first one now. Let's jump into it. All right, guys, we have the Veyron here. Really a larger offering from Winterblade and no magnets. I was really surprised to see that, but we do have what he is referring to as his J-lock. This one is really unique because you have a tab on one full piece of metal here with studs attached to the bottom part of this. So it is shaped like a J. Hopefully right there you'll be able to see that there is engagement that can be seen from that bar right there and the way that it engages, and then you can see it rides all the way to the open position. And then once open, you have a useful Wharncliffe blade shape here. I might even call this a reverse tanto. You got a longer handle, so you got plenty of grip. There's actually space up front, so if you wanted to choke up, you could, which would leave space in the back for you as well. Just a really nice large handle to grip onto, and it's actually so large that I'd actually dare to say that you could go a little bit longer on that blade. The way that it swings closed, I know it is exposed here a little bit on the close, but once it's actually closed, it's tucked in there pretty good. I would say you could make it a little bit longer on the blade itself, or if it was possible, move the pivot forward and bring the handle in a little bit so that you have a little bit better blade to handle ratio. It just looks like it's a tad longer than the handle. The handle's a tad longer than the blade, but it's not really awful. It's just something that I did notice. Titanium pocket clip with G10 onlays, steel nested liners here, which makes this feel nice and rigid. Doing the cutting with the Vanex, it had a nice factory edge. It went straight through that catalog paper with no issues. Nice, tall, thin, flat grind with really nice slicey geometry moved through the cardboard. And of course, choked up. This was excellent with that detailed cutting. So nice and easy to control. Pointed it right where I wanted it to go, and it cut very, very nicely. I didn't notice any real hot spots. I could feel the pocket clip, but again, not a real hot spot. There's a little bit of some sharpness right here on the edges while holding it, but it's not really biting into it. It's just I can kind of feel that it's not as knocked down as it probably could be. I think that would really round this out and refine it a ton. But I mean, this lock mechanism, guys, this is really, really cool. As you can see, the studs move with the lock bar, and then the actual tab here moving with that bar. So again, it is J-shaped. It does disengage sort of like the super lock does, to where this actual bar locks it open. And then it is rounded again right there. You can see rounded out so that it kind of locks into place, keeping this from opening too easily. There's no play. It's very, very tight tolerances. Extremely well done. So for the opening methods, you do have a very satisfying reverse flick because again, holds it in place well enough for you to be able to ramp up. And then you can use the crossbar sort of like you do with a bug out, and then sort of like you do with the super lock, you can use the tab to open and close it. So you do technically have multiple means of deployment. It does feel like it is a little bit of a heavier model, but again, it is a larger size than your Factor is in this particular instance. So let's take a look at a couple of knives for a size comparison. So here it is compared to my Veyron Engineering Nova, which is a larger knife in my collection, and you can see that the Veyron is pretty comparable. It does have a shorter blade. Again, I think you could add a little length onto this blade. I think you do have room for it in the handle. And then you do have the Empire here on the table. I thought it would be interesting to compare it to another Winterblade model. Let me move these two out of the way. We'll do a couple more, and then we'll grab that scale and check the weight on this one. All right, so I brought the Benchmade bug out here because, again, a more medium size comparison, and then my Kaiser Militao, which is more full size, and again, just a little bit more length on that blade, but very similar handle lengths. Let's grab the scale and let's check the weight on the Veyron. All right, got the scale out and cut on, and there we go. Can y'all see the numbers? There you go. You can see the numbers now. I'm going to guess this is over 5 ounces just because of how it feels in hand, but I don't think it'd be by much. Coming in at 5.2, which I believe is very comparable to the Nova, or is it the Padre? No, that's the Padre then. The Nova is 5.7, so it is lighter than the Nova at about the same size. I think it obviously is heavier than the Militol. The Militol is 4.1. This is 5.2, so 1.1 ounces heavier. And I think my Padre is around 5.1 or 5.2 ounces. So not bad considering that this is more of your full-size knife. Let me move the scale out of the way and we'll go ahead and wrap up with final thoughts and impressions. All right, final thoughts and impressions on the Veyron. I grade on a scale of 1 to 10, guys. 10's the best, 1 is the worst, and I take into consideration the performance, the price of the knife, and the aesthetics. Those are all things that I take into consideration when I'm grading on this one. Very comfortable ergonomically. I love that you have the multiple positions. I love the innovation on this one. No magnets this time coming from Winterblade, just a new lock idea. So I think it takes the super lock and the crossbar lock and merges it together. And I would imagine if it's anything like the super lock, this is a pass around, so I can't test it, that this would be a very strong lock mechanism. Being that it is ambidextrous, I also forgot to mention earlier, I like the fact that the titanium pocket clip, which works very well in spite of the fact that it lands on the hole, is reversible. This pocket clip does utilize the outer layers here to keep itself propped up, so it doesn't end up catching or binding up going in and out of the pocket. So very, very well thought out. I would say my biggest nitpick is going to be, I think that if you could lengthen out the blade just a little bit to kind of match the length of the handle, I think you could accomplish that, because even though it is shorter, it does stick out here. I don't think it sticking out a little bit until it closes is going to be that big of a deal, and you do seemingly have enough space to add a little bit more length to it. It may require, instead of it being so curved right here, you might have to come straight out and round it around to match the blade shape there. I think it would be an okay change to the model to make it seem like it has perfect blade to handle ratios. The reason I emphasize perfect is because it is a minor nitpick. The blade itself is a great utility blade shape. It is done well, very thin, very slicey. All that being said, I think the biggest thing for this one is the innovation of the lock for me and the comfortable ergos. It is a little bit more expensive, but you are paying again for innovation. And I don't know if this is the one that's being manufactured by Kunwu or if this one is being manufactured either by Rayot or Bestech. Either way, I know those are expensive manufacturers to work with, but I know that they have a very, very high level of quality in their build and construction coming out. So having said all that, I am at a 8.1 on this one. It is a higher scoring knife, and that is because I do have a great appreciation for the genius behind the lock system. Again, I do appreciate the ergos on it, and I love the blade shape. It is very, very useful. My takeaways are it is more expensive, so it is going to be a little bit harder to attain for some folks. And I would love for that blade to handle ratio to be just a little bit closer together. Again, very minor nitpick. Outside of that, everything else on this is done very, very well. I do like the model. I don't know all the colorways. I wouldn't probably have gone for the black and orange. I might have done like a black and red or Stormtrooper black and white. That would have been really sweet. That would have been what I would have gone with. But usually, I think he does some premium materials, so I don't know maybe if there's a titanium one or anything like that out there available for this one. Could be. I would recommend you check the site. I think he did a pre-order, if I recall correctly, and then over-ordered, so there should be some that will be hitting the site if you're interested in the Veyron. I am not an affiliate, but I will link the Winterblade's website for you down in the description, so you can head on over there and check that out. Shout out and a thank you to my channel members out there. If you enjoyed the video, guys, a like would help the channel. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. A special thank you to Brian for letting me check this one out. I really do appreciate it, and I very much enjoyed this one. This is a really cool piece, and I love this lock mechanism. I think it's awesome. All right, I'm out of here. I hope you have a great week. I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Peace.